Okay. Peter, you all set? We called the meeting to order at 6:03 p.m.
I got that. I take it there's no video.
No, there's not going to be any video. We're going to try it without for a little bit.
Okay.
Did we lose you, Rich? We lost Rich and we gained Rick.
It says off.
Yeah, mine said mine audio said it was down.
All right, we hear you now.
Okay, so Mark, I can't. Is there a way I can see the chat as well as who's in the room?
No, you may be able to. In Windows, I'm not sure. I think they're two separate screens that you'd have to go back and forth between, though.
Oh, I'm going to stick here. We called the meeting to order.
I'll keep an eye on the chat.
Okay. So, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda?
I have one. This is Bill.
Go ahead, whoever that is.
The third bullet point down from equity, if you can cross out the word ARE. I accidentally put that in there. Doesn't make any sense.
Okay.
And Rich, I just want to give a VSBA update.
I thought I had that in there. We'll do that at the end of new business, Mark.
Works for me.
Anybody else? You see, so we have Rick, Dwight, Kate, Mark, and I. The only one we're missing is Laura, right?
Correct.
Okay. I don't see any members of the public unless, Lauren, do you have anything?
No, I'm all good. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren. I have the minutes of the June 1st, 2020 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of the June 1st meeting.
So Mark made the motion. Is there a second?
Kate can second.
Okay, so a motion by Mark and Kate seconds it. Did you get that, Peter?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So by roll call, I'm going to go Mark first.
Yes.
I'm going to go Dwight.
Here, present.
Do you approve the minutes?
Yes. Sorry.
Kate?
Kate approves.
Rick?
Aye.
Okay, so that's unanimous, Peter.
Got it.
And Bill, unless I missed something, I have no correspondence, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is the Fed discussion and possible action. So the RFP had been sent out, and I believe there were 3 responses. And I'm going to turn it over to Mark because he was working on that. So Mark, if you can tell us where we stand with the RFP for the tech.
I got muted. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we hear you.
Yes.
All right. So, Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, but we got two actual full responses back,
Correct.
and one that came in more as a request that we extend the deadline because they hadn't seen the ad until um, less than a week ago now. So
That
that's
is
where we.
correct, Mark.
All right, thank you, Bill. So that's where we stand as far as responses go. The I have not read through. I skimmed through one. I have not read the second. Um, I didn't know whether we may want to extend the deadline for two reasons. One, to allow this third company, which does a lot of local work, to respond, and also because I'd really like to get the RFP out into more hands than we've been able to yet. Since it's a website, we really should be able to get some national or some national response. So, want to take the temperature of the room and see how people feel.
Let's go
This
through
is
the board
Kate.
members. Dwight,
Yeah. So what's the current deadline? I'm sorry, Mark.
Was the 12th.
It was the 12th, and you say you had two bids and one asking for extension.
Correct.
Okay. When did you want to extend it to?
Our next meeting.
Oh, okay. Where did we advertise it before, and where do you think we should going forward?
Bill, I'm going to let you answer where it was actually posted.
So it was just local, meaning the Deerfield Valley News and the Commons. We did not extend it out beyond those two local postings.
So if we extend, so basically looking to extend to the next meeting, which would give that third person the opportunity to put in a full bid and maybe get anybody else.
Yeah, and I'd like to see it posted in the Reformer. And I discussed last time and didn't do anything about it. Some of these online services where people can choose to bid on projects, and I'm drawing a blank on the name off the top of my head.
Okay.
so Dwight, our next meeting is the 20th. So we would probably want it to be sometime like, maybe the 14th or 15th of July that they would have to be in. So then Mark could review them with Bill and then, make a presentation on the 20th if they have an opinion on somebody we should use.
Okay. Let me, let me ask one more question, if I could. After they accept the bid, how long do you think it would take to have the website kind of up and running? Is it the expectation to have it ready for the school year?
No, the RFP, I believe, I don't have it in front of me, envisioned an October 1st start. So this would be pushing it back by about a month. But it was not the timeline that we had was just too short to have something for the beginning of the year.
Right. Okay. Could we do 2 weeks? Do you think that person who wanted who needed extra time, would that be enough time for that person?
For that person, yes, it would be.
Okay.
The problem is, though, Dwight, we don't meet to the 20th anyway, so we might as well open it up, and if somebody else wants to.
And
Yeah.
Bill
I
just put in the chat a reminder that we did not budget, or actually he's asking whether we budgeted for it. And I don't think we did.
That's fine. We'll just take it from somewhere else. I mean, let's
Yeah.
see what we get. We
I
don't
understand.
know if we're gonna.
You can take it out of my
It should
paycheck.
say we have. It should say we have the right to accept or reject any and all bids. So
Yep.
Yeah.
good.
Kate,
Dwight, are
do you
you
have
all?
I'm good.
So
Okay, so Kate, I'm sorry.
yeah, I'm looking at the one from school right now, and I'm not seeing any pricing. Is like, am I just having some challenges reading it in Google Docs, perhaps, or like, did you guys see pricing or the hours or any of the details in that one?
honestly, I once we got a request for a third, I stopped reading, and I had only skimmed one, so I did not
Okay.
notice pricing on either.
Okay. Yeah, but so maybe if somebody else can just check in on that and see if we could follow up with that one. I'm okay with extending the deadline as long as it meets our overall. I think it's more important to get the right fit than a fast fit.
Yeah.
And that's why if we do something the week before, like the 14th, 15th of July, that'll give Mark and Bill a chance to go through it, make sure all the numbers are right, and then they can make a presentation to the board and make a recommendation, if we can afford it and which one we should go with.
Sounds good.
So, Rick Thorpe, do you have any comments? Rick, are you still there?
Sorry, I was muted too. I have no problem giving them the 15th of next month.
Okay, so any other comments, Rick, on anything with that?
No, I don't have any other comments. I think we've talked about this enough. It's been going on for a while.
Okay, so then Mark and Bill, why don't we go ahead and extend it out to the 15th, but drop dead by 5 p.m. on the 15th, and then we'll discuss it at the July 20th meeting, and we'll give Bill and Mark permission to review the RFPs and come back to us. But they'll also send it out on Friday, not the recommendation, but at least all the RFPs so we can look at them again.
Lori made a post in the chat that if it's over 15,000, we need 3 bids or a waiver from the AOE.
Well, I think it also was that you had to ask for bids, but if you don't get anybody to bid, how do you get 3 bids? How did we get 3 bus bids when only 1 bus bid came through?
Lori?
Yeah, unmute yourself, Lori.
I am unmuted. I'm not sure about the bus bid. I wasn't involved with that, but it is the law that if you send out an RFP, then if it's over the law is if it's over $15,000, then you need 3 bids back or a waiver. So if you only get 1, then I request a waiver from the state and I have to show them where it was advertised, and then they usually approve it. So then you can award the bid to that one. I don't know if it was done or not for the bus, but that is the protocol.
Well, no, I'm saying that, when we put out the bus bid to West River, does anybody bid against West River?
We don't put out a bid for West River. Every year they increase less than or at the NEAP, which is fine to do, which is usually run as about 2.7%.
Okay.
So you don't have to put it out to bid if they stay within that percentage.
Okay, cool. So Mark, just make sure you get 3 prices back.
You got it.
So unless anybody else is all set or wants to add anything, we'll move on.
I'm
And I
good.
guess, Mark, if we don't get 3 bids back, but we only get 1 or 2, then we'll just deal with it at that time and we'll ask Lori to get a waiver for us.
That's assuming they're over 15,000. Anyway,
So we'll be able to see then. Bill, is that okay? Bill and Lori?
Yeah, I think we're going to have 3, so I think we'll be covered either way, whether it's under 15 or over 15. So it'll follow the law.
Okay. And Lori, thank you for keeping us legal. I don't see that any lawyers joined us yet. So next thing we had was end of year ceremony, notes, certificates, awards, how were they presented, etc. Basically, how did your guys' graduations and end of the year go? And we'll start with why don't we start with Tammy?
Graduation went very, very well. It was a very lovely little gathering of our 4 students and their immediate family members. Students prepared speeches about their years here at Warrensboro and actually were able to give those. You know, Sam and I both spoke. Thank you, Rich, for your words. I read those as well before I presented the students with their diplomas. So with the exception of, you know, diplomas really the only award in addition to those was our Friend of Education Award, which went to Lisa Ballantyne this year, and that was voted on by the faculty. Other than that, you know, it went very well. At the end, we had a nice little wishing them well. The kids raised some of those lanterns and made a wish, and we all said our farewells. You know, everybody behaved. We had, you know, supplies for people if they didn't have masks. We provided hand sanitizer, you know, follow the safety guidelines that were recommended from the AOE.
Anybody got any questions for Tammy?
I have a comment. I got to see a little bit of some videos and things on Facebook, and I thought it looked like a really nice ceremony. It looked wonderful.
Thank you.
Bill?
Yes.
Oh, no, I just noticed you were your thing was on, so I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
Oh, no. I just clicked mine on so I could listen.
Okay, Rick, you all set? No, you're off. Okay. Hey,
I am all set.
Okay, I think we're all set, Tammy. Thank you very much. And just as an aside, Tammy, just so you know, I did get a text from 2 parents from Wardsboro thanking them for the letter we wrote, the school board wrote to the you know, to the class and the parents and stuff. So I thought that was kind of neat too.
Yeah, we've never done that really in the past. Typically, the board members are there basically to distribute diplomas and give the kids a handshake. Obviously, we couldn't do that this year, so it was really nice to be able to, you know, say something on the board's behalf, I felt. So thank you for providing us with that.
You're welcome. Thank you. Hey, Matt, you're up next, buddy.
Yes, thanks, Rich. We had a drive-in style graduation at Dover this year, which was part of the recommendations or the possible options from the AOE. We had 14 students and about 4 extra cars, which would have been their second. They were allowed to have 2 cars. They were asked to stay in their cars. Students were asked to wear masks and observe the recommendations and the guidelines for social distancing and safety. We had the staff were socially distanced up on the sidewalk of the school, also wearing masks. There was music. The music teacher played some processional and recessional music. It was notable that there was no student voice in the ceremony. I really missed that. I look forward to when we can get back to having students speak. The 6th grade did select the Friend of Dover School recipient. That was Alicia DeWire, one of the parents, who has donated a lot of time, particularly on coaching various activities. We did have a following of about 15 people, I think, at the maximum on Zoom. The graduation was broadcast via Zoom. The links were sent out to family. But all in all, it was a nice small ceremony, fairly brief. It took about 45 minutes, I think. And the highlight for me was certainly at the end. They did a kind of a parade around the bus drop-off area where the students came up in their cars, and the teachers were cheering them on, and they were handed their certificates and anything else that they received that evening and sent on their merry way. So a good time, I think, was had by all. I think the parents appreciated the gesture. It was definitely a little weird, but we made the best of it.
Any questions for Matt? Okay, thank you, Matt.
You're welcome. Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome. I'm gonna bounce around a little bit because I see it's like 25 after, and I want to get Bill and Lori off. If you guys don't mind, let's talk about the summer meeting schedule in the future meetings. So I think we probably should plan one more meeting, the next meeting in July. I see that the governor today is keeping all his orders in place. So I think we'll still have social distancing. We talked that there wouldn't be a lot of room. So if nobody has a problem with it, we'll do our next meeting on July 20th as a go-to meeting. And then Mark, maybe you can, and Bill can work on, if this isn't going to work, we'll send out the information and Matt can set up the meeting for us with his, with whatever account he has. And then I think on that meeting, we'd also probably need to get the transportation schedule out, if that works for the principals and for the superintendent. And if it doesn't work, unmute your screen, unmute yourself and tell us why it doesn't work. Okay, so I think that is good. Is there anybody on the board that doesn't has an issue with July 20th doing another virtual meeting? Rick, go ahead.
Should be fine by me. July 20th, sounds good.
Okay. Kate?
It's Mark.
Go ahead, Mark.
Our 3-month free use of GoToMeeting expires in a few days. So we're going to have to pay for something moving forward. If we're going to be going to, and this is more going backwards to your other discussion, which you skipped, but if we're going to a hybrid system, I'd have a different recommendation. But we're going to have to make a decision tonight on where we want to spend that money.
Matt, is the system you have, do we have to pay for that?
So we use, maybe Bill may be able to speak to it a little bit more, but we use the Wyndham Central accounts to access the unlimited version of Zoom. And Bill, I don't know if there's any fee related to that or if it's free for education. Do you have any idea? It looks like you might still be muted, Bill.
He responded in chat, education is free.
Okay, great.
So we can work that out. I think that Zoom is probably the platform we're going to need to use going forward anyway for a hybrid system. GoToMeeting just isn't going to function well in that situation.
Okay, so Kate, I'm sorry, did you have any comments?
I just had the comment, just checking in to see if one of the schools has a Zoom account, which we do. So, nope, I think July 20th sounds great.
Okay, Dwight?
You guys hear me okay? I'm trying these new headphones.
Yes, you're working good.
All right. Yeah, the 20th is fine for me. I was just curious, what would a hybrid meeting mean? Like, what would that consist of?
So we've talked about like maybe we can meet at the school, but still have a call in so any board members or public that didn't want to come to the school. So maybe you're not feeling really great, or maybe you're quarantining because your child came home and said, "Hey, Dad, school today, 3 of the kids, were tested positive." So you could still participate, but you don't have to be in the meeting.
Okay.
So I think then we're good, right? Everybody's all set. We'll meet the 20th. We'll have transportation.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, let's move on then. I wanted to just skip ahead and under new business, we have pay warrants. And while Lori's on the phone, did everybody get a copy of the pay warrants? It was a short one, I believe, this week. I think, Lori, it got sent to us in 2 different ways, right? Like the check register and then also the one with the spots for us to sign, correct?
I believe so, yeah. Yep, I don't have them in front of me as I'm at home, but I believe they did get sent.
Did everybody on the board get to see them?
Yep. Oh, I did at least.
Okay. Dwight?
I don't think I saw them, but were they part of the documents that Bill sent?
Correct.
He's
Okay.
saying yes.
Okay. I have them then.
And Kate, you said yes?
Yes, on Friday afternoon.
Yeah. And Rick, did you get to review them?
I did look through them, yes. It's a really short one, right?
Yeah, it's like $2,000,
Yeah.
$2,063.60.
Yep, I did see that. That was a really quick, easy one to go through.
Okay, so is there somebody on the board that'd like to make a motion to approve general fund pay warrants in the amount of $2,063.60?
I can make a motion to approve the pay warrants for $2,063.60.
Second,
Thank you, Kate. Rick, you seconded it?
yes.
Peter, did you get that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mark, how do you vote?
Yay.
Dwight?
Yay.
Kate?
Yay.
And Rick?
Yay.
So that's unanimous. I'll sign this one and I'll put it outside for you, Bill. Okay, there was a signed contracts. So we had approved all the certified contracts, and then there was a spreadsheet that Lori or somebody at Lori's behest completed. They had all the not only just the certified staff, but the agreements for the support staff, i.e. maintenance, food service, after school administration. Did everybody get to see that? It was a 1-page spreadsheet.
Yes.
I did not see that.
Okay, Dwight, you said yes.
I believe so. Yes, I have it. Okay.
Kate?
I'm not seeing that one. When was it sent?
Bill, did that not go out with all the?
Bill said he's resending them right now.
Okay, so Bill's gonna send that, if everybody can just check your email. So let's skip over that. There was a part of that pack he sent out a one-page spreadsheet that had the food service program in it.
Yeah.
Did everybody get to see that? I heard Kate say yes.
I have the food service program also. I have that and I think another 9 documents, but I didn't see
Yeah,
a
there's a
spreadsheet.
bunch. The food service just came out, I think, on a Excel document.
Yes,
That's
it
correct.
did.
Okay, so Rick got it. Kate, did you see that?
Yes, the food service one, and then Bill just sent the other one as well.
Okay, let's concentrate on the food service and we'll go back to that one. Dwight, you got the food service?
Yeah, I have it.
Mark?
I did, yes.
Laura, I see Laura's off now. So basically we had asked Bill and the administration to look at, would it make sense for the town, since Dover had a food service program, to have them prepare food for the Wardsboro school instead of going through the West River? And I guess Lori Garland or Bill, do one of you want to talk to that? Maybe, I guess Lori?
Sure, I can jump in and talk about this. So yeah, we looked at this. We did an analysis on what are West River's costs, or what were Wardsboro's costs from West River. As you can see, that's what West River was charging Wardsboro at the top there, the $35,440. And then we looked at what personnel would need to be hired, and food costs and that type of thing. We worked with, or Matt really engaged Bob as well, because it would really affect his world there at Dover. And basically it's a wash right now. There's a couple of different things I will point out. The payroll benefits. This does not include health care. And as of the first of the year, as you know, we'll all be on the statewide health care. And so that opens up the health care for any non-certified staff as well at any tier. But that would affect you even if it was coming from West River. So it's really a moot point. I wanted you to understand that this does not include any health benefits. The only, thing that I would say about this, and please, Tammy and Matt, jump in whenever you want to jump in, is that I think that the only thing it does is protect, or not the only thing, but it protects you against future increases from West River. I will tell you that West River did end in a deficit in their food program, and which means that I'll be looking at, what do we need to do next year to increase costs or increase revenues. So that, it would probably regulate this a little bit better, being all under one district. Matt and Tammy, do you want to jump in on that?
Tammy, do you want to go ahead?
I'll speak after you. Go ahead, Matt.
Okay. No, I just think the only thing I'd add is that the one thing of concern was the idea of the transportation, and the way the food would be presented at Wardsboro would be a little different from the traditional sort of plated meal that maybe that they've been used to, particularly around not being able to wash dishes, having to transport dishes, and the staff involved in that. It got a little complicated, but other than that, it seems like it's within the scope of what we could do without, really impacting the Dover food program very much at all, for sure.
So Lori Garland, my kind of takeaway from this is that as our business manager extraordinaire, you're thinking it's a wash for right now, so we don't want to change anything now, but we can maybe look at it again in the fall when we do the budget, and you'll know what's going on with West River.
I think that you could plan to take it over in the fall. And that was my point is that going forward, we're going to have to look at the West River food budget a little closer. And so, I would see an increase probably in the Wardsboro piece, even potentially for this year. So, it's really up to the board if they want to bring the food program all under one roof. Or not one roof, I'm sorry, two roofs, one district.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is this a really bad time with the COVID stuff and with not knowing what's going on, and we don't even know. I mean, the federal government might give everybody a lot of money towards food. Is it something we should move forward on, or invest any more time in to look at for this coming year, or do we want to wait to see what West River is going to do, and then we'll be able to just have a more accurate discussion?
Yeah, I think either way, I think it might be, Tammy, not to put you on the spot, but, as far as your service level is concerned, do you have concerns about keeping it with West River or, that type of thing?
I mean, Rich is correct in that we're not really even sure what food service might, what changes might transpire based on recommendations from the agency. So there's a lot of unknowns right now. I think, definitely would offer consistency within our district between the two schools. I'm not sure how participation will be impacted as well. Parents might feel more comfortable, providing their own food at this time. And I also think that there is a certain advantage to having a contracted food provider. I mean, I think we see that a little bit with our bus service. It's less taxing to the system if somebody calls out sick. It's not our responsibility at this time, it's somebody else's. So those are just my points.
So maybe let's do this. Is there anybody from the board that has a thought other than we'll just go with the status quo for now?
I do.
Go ahead, Mark.
I think that I'd like to see it brought in-house for consistency. And if COVID is a ongoing concern, then having more control over the atmosphere in which the food is prepared, I think, is a positive. So what I'd say is, if Matt and Bob truly believe that that's within their capabilities of handling both schools, and I would vote to move it.
Any other thought from any other board member?
Yeah,
White?
this is Laura.
Laura?
I'm sorry, I joined a little bit late, so I am not exactly 100% clear on where Matt and Tammy are with this. And was it the case that it's a board decision, like they can do whatever, or did they have an opinion about this?
They both their opinion, but you didn't hear it?
Yeah, if their opinion is to wait, I would go. I would be happy to go with their opinion, whatever it is.
Matt, you want to clarify your thoughts?
Sure. I think, and Lori and Tammy, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think we felt like we could provide the service from Dover. It would be a little different than the service that West River was providing, but certainly would be, high quality meals. Of course, just like West River, Dover would adhere to all of the safety recommendations and the guidelines for, COVID response as normal. And the only real, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, Lori and Tammy, the only thing that was kind of a question mark for us was the ability to find staff, or to find the additional staff that we would have to hire. And just concerns about, like Tammy brought up, the issue of sick days and finding coverage and all that stuff. West River has a bigger crew
Okay.
to work with and more resources for that kind of thing. So
I apologize if you already went through all of that. So it sounds like your preference would be maybe to wait and see how things shake out.
for me personally, Laura, it's really, it doesn't, I don't really have a preference. I could easily work, I think, in either scenario.
Yeah.
And, but I'd like to hear from Tammy and Lori as well.
Yeah. I heard Lori. I wasn't 100% on Tammy and you.
Oh.
So I think.
So, yeah.
Go ahead, Laura, but I was just saying that I think it would definitely offer, consistency, not knowing what Dover has to offer for food. I'm not sure what the quality was, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. I'm sure it's, very, very good. I'm sure it's very comparable. One of the things that Matt brought up was that we're used to getting a trade meal, so that, it's being served on a tray and students, eat it obviously off of the tray. I think the service that we would get would be using some sort of a to-go packaging that could transport well, so that we would be able to then compost those containers, so that we don't have to do any dishes, because our septic at Warrensboro will not handle that. So that's one of the dilemmas that we have.
Okay. So it sounds like you are looking for ways to make this work, but it sounds like there's a lot of questions. And what I heard Mark say is, I think what I heard Mark say is he'd like to go forward, but I don't know that I agree with that. I think I heard Lori say maybe wait and see. So I think I'm going to wait and see unless.
So Mark, I think my concern was that we could, have a better control over what's going out, because we'll be in-house and it'll be the same as going on in Dover. But Dwight, why don't you weigh in on this, please?
Yeah, sure. I certainly would defer to Matt and Tammy on what their opinion is there on the ground there. But I do think it's something we should explore. And since the price is essentially the same, then it comes down to what's a better fit. Obviously, change is never easy, but having some control over it, maybe it's we can alter the menus when needed, since we have we're doing it all in house. So there may be some advantages that I'm not seeing, but I'm also hearing that it might be kind of soon, and having to rely on staff does make me a little nervous as well, because someone can always call in sick and then we're in a real pickle. So I'll definitely defer to Matt and Tammy on this one.
Kate, you want to weigh in?
Yeah, I guess my question would be to each Matt and Tammy, I believe this was the first year that they used the West River food service over at Warrensboro. And, if Tammy had gotten feedback in terms of the quality from the kids or the teachers or whoever utilized that lunch, and to Matt, what the feedback has been over at Dover School for the quality of their in-house meals.
I would say that this year, actually, our meal counts were up a little bit. So it seemed like students were excited about the choices that they were given through West River, but I'm sure that the Dover menu also offers very similar things to what we were seeing from West River.
Rich?
Yes.
I just want to ask Lori a question. Lori, I think I heard you.
Mark, hang on a second. Let's just give Rick a chance, and then I'll get back to you. Rick?
Are you waiting on me?
Yeah, well, I was going to that way everybody's had a chance, and then Mark has a second question.
Yeah, no, I'm actually leaning more towards Mark's way. I don't know. I feel like we take a lot of things and we put them off for a year. And if there's any way we can make this work this year, I think we should give it a shot. We're one district and we should be working together in as many ways as possible.
Okay, thank you. Mark, go ahead now.
Oh, Laura, I think I heard you say that because the West River program ran a deficit, that for fiscal year 21, we may actually see a rise in the price for Wardsboro if we stuck with West River. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's, I'm looking at it and I'll have to do a further deep dive and analysis on West River to see where they, this year is very hard to, take anything at face value because of COVID, right? I mean, it could be that a lot of the increase in costs were because of that, in which case it would increase all the way across the board. So I haven't had the time to really do the deep dive into it. My point was more that when it's under one district, you do have more control over the costs than when you're purchasing a service, in a lot of ways. So, but there isn't a significant savings. So it really could go either way for fiscal year 21.
So we've heard from all the board members. Bill, do you want to weigh in at all?
No, I do not.
And Mark, I see you're unmuted. Did you want to make another comment?
No, I was going to ask whether a motion was appropriate this time.
Yeah, you
I
can
just had
make a motion.
I one follow-up question, Rich.
Go ahead, Dwight.
So getting back to cost, so if we keep it, if we have a contract with the West River, is that, in other words, what I'm hearing is maybe some families may want to bring their own lunches because of COVID, and there may be a reduction in the amount of food that's necessary. So if we keep it in-house, and is that contract a set price? And if not, if we keep it in-house, could we see a savings if we are using less food because families are bringing their own food to school?
Lori, is it a contract price for the service, or is it so much per meal?
So it's really a contract price for the service, right? Because they have to hire staff based on having Wardsboros, sending somebody with the meals, as Tammy's described, setting up the meals, taking back the dishes and all of that. So that has to happen whether you have, 3 kids eating or 40 kids eating, right? So they have to incur the costs for that. So it's more of a contract price.
And then, could part of the Leland or West River thing this year also be, that they're transporting all these meals, so could it be a part of it, or you won't know until you do your deep dive? So I guess
I need to do the deep dive before I make any judgment calls on that. But I can see the contract price may need to go up depending on the service and when I do the cost analysis.
Okay. Mark, did you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I was going to move that we bring Wardsboro meals under the Dover control for unified district.
The River Valley District.
Yes.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
I'd second it if we could read it or say it again.
Rick, go ahead.
What was the motion?
The motion is to have Dover preparing the meals for the entire River Valley's district.
Actually, Mark, if you don't mind, probably the proper motion would be that all meals in the River Valley District be prepared within the district.
I will amend the motion to that.
Well, yeah, you don't have to amend it because there's been no second yet. So if you want to, if you're okay with that motion, Rick, are you okay with that?
I'm okay with that motion as it stands, yes. And I can second that.
Okay,
So I have a
Okay,
quick
so
question. This is Kate. This is Kate. I have a
Yeah.
quick question. So, like, if we do go forward with this motion, do we feel like, does Tammy and Matt, do they both each feel that, like, that's serviceable from their standpoint?
Okay,
Like,
so
we had
Kate,
expressed some
just-
concerns over staffing.
yeah, Kate, hang on 1 second, okay?
Okay.
So just for procedural, I just want to make sure, Peter, do you have the motion that was made by Mark and seconded by Rick?
Yes, sir. Move to have all meals
Oh.
prepared within the River Valley District.
Okay, so there's a motion made and seconded. Now there's discussion on the motion. So Kate wants to know from Matt and Tammy, if we were to pass this motion, if they would be all set to be able to set this up?
Yeah, that's essentially my question. Is it serviceable?
Okay, Matt and Tammy?
I believe that it is.
Laura has a question.
Hang on, Matt.
I agree with Tammy. We really gave this a thorough look over. We discussed it with our chef Bob, and our custodial staff would be available as backup delivery. I think we could, I mean, we obviously made a proposal all the way down to dollars. So yeah, I think we could make it work, and it would cost about the same as what we were expecting. And it wouldn't be any kind of hardship, or we'd be able to provide the same quality for Wardsboro students as we would be able to provide in Dover. So yeah, that's what we came up with.
Okay.
Laura, or Kate, does that answer your question?
That does. Yeah. Thank
It
you.
also answers mine.
Okay, Dwight,
Yeah, I'm all set.
Mark?
Bill put a comment that Rich, Lori, and he need to roll for the West River reorganizational meeting now.
Okay. So you guys, if I don't have any other questions, we're ready to vote. Thank you, Lori and Bill. Okay, so by roll call vote, I mean we will no longer use the River Valley, West River food service, but it'll all be in-house in the valleys. Mark, how do you vote?
Aye, yeah.
Right?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
Laura?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
So the vote's unanimous. So, Matt and Tammy, make sure we start making our changes.
Quick question.
Yes.
My question is, one of the things we'll have to do right away is to start advertising for a staff position. And I just want to make sure we have the approval to go forward with that.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, that's on this form that you need to get another person. So.
Yeah. Great. Thank you.
Okay. So that kind of, I was hoping to, the superintendent's cabinet report. Now, obviously, the superintendent had to leave. So if anybody had any questions from that, can you just email them to me, and then I'll get an answer for us at our next meeting. We're going to have a conversation going back to old business. We're going to have a conversation on equity. Matt and Tammy, are you able to lead that, or do we need to hold on to that till we get Bill back on?
I'm not quite sure I'm fully aware of the of all the wishes that Bill may have had. Tammy, you may know more than I do.
I'm not certain either. I know that a lot of documents were provided for this meeting to come to some conclusions, which are the questions I think that are on the agenda. So if people had time, I think, to look over the documents, then we might be able to answer those questions.
Did everybody on the board get a chance to review the paperwork? There was some documents on equity definition, River Valley mission and vision, guiding principles and budget development.
Yes.
Dwight,
Yes.
Kate,
I had a quick read. Yes.
okay, Laura, Rick.
Yes, they were provided and I did look them over.
Okay, so then why don't we move forward? So the equity was a question that Laura had brought up several meetings ago, and we put it on our review. We were going to do it on this at this meeting. So they sent out a couple documents, and one was Vermont's superintendents and principals and the Vermont School Boards Association for the equity of definition of equity. He included our mission and vision and the guiding principles on the budget development. So I'm hoping that Laura's still here, but I see she's muted. Laura, what was your concern and where did you want this discussion to head to?
So my concern was around, we have students going back and forth. We have budget development. How are we able to answer the question that we are with those two things, with budget development and students going back and forth? How are we able to ensure that we are providing equitable educational opportunities for students?
And did you feel that the documents that Bill sent out answer that question?
I am not sure.
Is there anybody else on the board that wants to take a stab at that answer? Matt or Tammy?
I would love to take a stab at that answer, but I would yield to Tammy if she'd like to go first.
But I certainly can go. I guess what's unclear to me is what are we trying to get out? Is it, are we looking at specifically programming? Are we specifically looking at, the financial? There's so many different ways that we can look at equity. So what is it specifically that the board is looking for us to define?
Laura, can you answer that?
So I don't think that we have a means of, so the way that we measure equity in the state is by per pupil spending. So certainly we've got that locked down. Well, I mean, we could break down spending by building, I guess, and look and see if we have that locked down. I don't actually think that's an accurate measure of equity. And I am interested in how we could say to the voters, how we can assure the voters, how we can assure parents that does not matter which school your child goes to, because we know that we are offering, while not the same, equal quality.
So Tammy, Matt, one of the things that was put out was for the budget development, and it, makes student-centered decisions. Budget decisions are made taking into consideration the best needs of the students. Ensure there are sufficient resources for Tier 1 support strategies. Tier 2 resources are for ESL and ELL children, and develop and implement a program to review and sunset process. Invest in safe and functional physical plants, ensure equality of opportunity, and take a long-term perspective and be transparent. Do you both feel that we've done that?
Go
I
ahead,
feel
Tim.
like for the budgeting process, I feel like absolutely we did this. Matt and I really worked together during that process, and we came up with these guiding principles, which really guided our work. And we really looked at every line item to make sure that, you know, resources were being distributed equitably.
And so I have another question, Richard.
Well, hang on, let Matt answer.
Okay.
Thanks. No, I agree with Tammy. I think we looked at this budget, the 2021 budget is incredibly collaborative. We worked together to create the budget with the guidance of Lori Garland. We looked not only at specific spending so that we equalized things right down to classroom supplies, but we also looked at the focus studies in each school, the focus areas with STEAM and IB, and made sure that those investments were suitable, not equal, but suitable for the needs of the programs and of the students. I feel like we really took this, the definition from the VSBA, VPA, VSA, and we really tried to incorporate that into our thinking when we were budgeting so that we could, so that I feel confident saying yes to you, Laura, that we are not only measuring the program by the dollars, but we really looked right down to the academic programs as closely as we could to really ensure that the resources that we're investing are what each student and what each program needs to best serve those students that are in those programs. I'm actually kind of excited about that. I think we may be out in front of some other schools just because we're small and we're lean.
So,
And Laura, can I just ask for one clarification?
sure.
Tammy and Matt, how was it with the budget you just completed, or the budget that will complete on June 30th?
Go ahead, Tam.
What was the question?
So the budget that you were just in this past school year that we just completed, do you feel that we met a lot of these guiding principles, you know, for the budget we developed the year before that you guys actually worked under this year?
I think that we took a lot more into consideration when planning for the upcoming year, like Matt talked about, you know, even down to spending per pupil within each classroom, how much we're going to spend on that. Really taking a good close look at, you know, the IB and the STEAM program. So I would say that the upcoming year is a much more accurate picture of a more equitable or equity spread throughout the two schools.
Okay, can I ask now, Richard?
Sure.
So here's something I think that would help me feel. So there's a lot, we have a fair amount of, we work in a group of people, I like to think, that have a fairly high regard and amount of respect for each other. You know, we're pretty deferential to you all. I think that's our role, is to make sure we have high quality administrators and, you know, make sure we give them good policies to work with. And, you know, the same. And so one of the things that I wonder about is to what extent, and this may solve the issue for me 100%, to what extent, Tammy, are you like really aware of the budgeting of what's going on in Dover? And Matt, not what's going on, but Matt, to what extent are you aware of what is going on in Warrensboro? And by what is going on, I am thinking to myself, like, how the school functions. What are the pieces of the budget that come together that make it so that the school can function? What are the critical pieces? To what extent are you each aware of that level of granularity in the other buildings?
I mean, I think I'm learning, you know, every day about about these things. One of the nice things about the new finance system is that I can go in and I can pick Dover School and I can see what Matt is spending his money on. I feel like the resources are there for me to learn even more if they're at my fingertip, really. I don't do that because, I've got my own building to run, but
Right.
I do have that, access to that.
I mean, Laura, I could add that I agree with Tammy that the ability for us to sort of interchange if we had to quickly, I think it would be pretty easy for either one of us to walk into the other building and within a relatively short period of time, understand that we have core instruction, we have academic support, we have special education related services, we have buildings and operations. The way that we've structured the principals reports based on Bill's recommendation from Act 77, the way that we create those principals reports every month together, I think we have a really good idea of what's going on in each other's building. And although obviously there'll be some detail, some real granularity that, like Tammy said, you're focusing on running the operation in front of you.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be, okay for us to step in and help the other one out in a moment's notice, really.
Okay. So, just to be even more plain about it, so I have no qualms, no questions whatsoever that either one of our administrators would be able to look at both buildings and devise a budget for both buildings on their own, that they're capable of that and that they're capable of doing that and thinking about all of the kids. And so I just wonder, so Matt, how do you know that the budget that we are putting in place, that the budget that's being developed, how do you know that it is providing equitable opportunities for the Wardsboro kids? And Tammy, how do you know that it's providing equitable opportunities for the Dover kids? Other than, I'm sure you both have a great deal of respect for each other, but how do you know beyond something like that?
You want me to go first this time, Tam?
Sure, go ahead.
Well, can I just go back and just a notch and Rich had asked about this current year, and I just want to remind you guys that this current year was a transitional year in terms of budgeting, and it was a new budget. It was new software and it was a new process, and there was a short amount of time. So it's not really the same. It wasn't anywhere near the amount of time and preparation and education that we received to build the 21 budget, just because everything was so new. So really apples and oranges. My feeling is that Tammy and Lori and I were able to sit down and literally determine every line of the River Valley's budget that was voted on in February. Every line that we could control, we discussed, and we were able to talk through, what was historical practice in Wardsboro, what was historical practice in Dover, and kind of bring the best of those, both from a programmatic perspective, but also from an efficiency perspective, that we brought the best of both of those worlds to the 21 budget. That's what we had ultimately had dreamed of being able to do. We didn't have that opportunity on the transition year, but now that we're out of that transition year, I think we did have that opportunity, and we seized it. And I think that was a really great experience to work with Tammy and Lori on that. Ooh, crickets.
So Laura, you okay?
I am okay. What would you say? So what would you say to a parent that asked you, well, what is the difference? Like, if we had a new family that moved in to one of the towns and, they could go to either school, what would you tell the parent, about the two schools? Like, how would you describe the two schools?
Go ahead, Tammy.
Well, I would say that, we're very blessed to have two schools within our district that parents would get to choose from that offer, very high quality education with really great teaching staff and a great supportive community. If you are, your family might be more interested in I would, steer them maybe toward the programming. If we offer the STEAM programming, if you would be interested in that, or, Dover has the IB program, which might be of interest to you.
Okay. So that would be, yeah. Okay. Great.
And I can just add a little bit to that, Laura, and tell you that I've had two of these experiences in the last week where new families have called me to ask about enrolling their kids. And honestly, I love to be able to say that they have the choice of, a school of about 50 students or a school of about 100 students. If they want a smaller school opportunity, smaller school experience, they can choose Wardsboro. If they want a little larger, they can choose Dover. If they want a STEAM focus experience, they can choose Wardsboro. If they want an IB experience, they can choose Dover. And then I always end with, either way, they get an incredibly supportive community with amazingly involved parents who volunteer like crazy, highly professional staff. And I think a lot of times they go away, or at least, these last couple of times, wondering, I wonder what we're gonna choose, because the options are great for them. And so that's how I present it when I have new families call me, and really let them kind of struggle with a hard decision, which is, where am I gonna send my kid? What's the best program? But it's great to have those options.
Richard?
Yes.
I am all set. I really want to thank you, Tammy and Matt. I really appreciate those answers. I think that this is a question and a concept that we should review regularly, that we should, we should be able to, continue to check in about this stuff. But I personally am satisfied with those answers.
Okay. Is there anybody else from the board that has any questions or comments? Why don't we start with Mark?
Yeah, my only real question is about foreign language. And I understand that that's a programming question, but to have real equity, I sort of feel like that needs to be available to all students. I guess it's more of a comment than a question.
And Mark, we have had that discussion since we started, talking about the two schools. And remember, equity doesn't mean everything has to be exactly the same.
I know.
Because obviously it isn't. And now why can't I see anybody? Kate?
I think, yeah, both schools definitely offer some great programs, and I think that's wonderful. But I definitely agree with Mark. I think foreign language is something that could be offered at both the IB school and the STEAM school, because it engages the children's brain in such a unique way, that I think that's something that's worth looking at in the future for both schools to be able to offer. I know it's tricky, part-time teachers and budgeting and all of that fun stuff, but I really appreciate the way that they've been able to come together and do the music program, which Wardsboro didn't have, I believe, before. They didn't have the choral program until the two schools joined. So it's been good to see those movements.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I for some reason now I can't see anybody. Comments?
Hey, Rich, it's Dwight. I have a comment.
Go for it.
Thanks. Yeah, I found it interesting, Matt, that you said that a couple families had reached out to you, and I'm hearing some things that people have an eye on Vermont to move here, and that that some families who have second homes may be considering going to the school. So it's one of the reasons I was kind of interested in getting the website up, because I think people are looking for information about the district and the options available to them. And I'm wondering, is there like kind of a packet for prospective parents that are coming into the area that describes the benefits of all the schools? Obviously, it has residency requirements, and so their options are really made available to them.
I know that does not exist here in Warrensboro yet, but it's certainly something that we could work on.
Same for Dover, and it was something I think that Anita had talked about last year, about some sort of press kit, or making sure which actually evolved into the website conversation as well, about making sure that the web and printed materials really promote the advantages of the two programs.
I
That sounds
also
like
fielded a couple of phone calls within the last couple of days. So I think you're right, Dwight, in that people are definitely looking at Vermont as a place to come to, which is very encouraging.
that's
So,
great.
Is that something though that I think I agree? I thought that was something we were looking to do with the website, was to be able to have people go on the website and see what was going on in the two different buildings, and be able to kind of get a feel for what it's like being in Dover and Wardsboro. Is that correct, Mark?
Yeah, that's definitely a big part of it. No question about it. Kind of goes back to the discussion that I think started with the Dover board and came over to the River Valleys board, that I think Laura brought up, which is essentially a PR marketing for what are now two great programs and two great schools.
Rick, do you have any thoughts or comments?
No, I'm all set at this point.
So
Could I follow up to
then,
that, Rich?
yeah, go ahead, Dwight. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so since the website, at the earliest we're going to have it in October. So am I hearing we can put together something for prospective parents that would that would provide the information they need on how to be a resident, what the opportunities are for them? Is that something that's easily put together, or do we need someone like Anita to help to do that?
We need Anita.
Matt or Tammy?
Yeah, I would definitely like to have somebody who knows marketing on that project. We do have the residency affidavit and registration papers, or for parents that are signing up for Dover, we have that on the website. And at this point, it's a phone call. They call and we speak to them and give them information and answer their questions, and that's fine. But ultimately, it would be, I know that was one of the goals of the website, to make sure that communication is easy for parents and they can get it at their fingertips.
Okay, so if we have the residency information, so really what we're just looking for is just like maybe a 1-page or a 2-pager regarding each program and the benefits of each program that would be available to them.
Can I make a comment?
Yes, Mark.
If we're going to go down that route, which I think is a good route to go down, I'd like to see a River Valleys packet, so that if somebody calls and asks about the Dover School, they're not just getting information about the Dover School, and the same with Wardsboro, that it's really a district-wide packet.
Yeah, I would agree.
I like that idea, Mark. That's neat. And I like the idea of doing a packet, especially because the website is looking October at the 1st. Like, because that's something that, you know, could be put together and you could even post it on each current website, I would assume.
Love it.
Yeah, that would be, because I mean, real estate is definitely booming right now. I think that there's going to be a lot of families moving into Vermont, and that might save you guys some time in the long run by putting something together.
You know, my only thought is if the board is going to be involved in this, so we don't need to get into the middle of July. You have the administrators on their summer, you know, stuff to get ready to open up a who knows what kind of school come September. It may not be till October till we have this together anyways, October, November. You know, I mean, I hate to stress it too much. And then if we hire Anita, you know, again, that's nothing that we budgeted for. I think, you know, but Matt and Tammy, I mean, do you guys think you can put something together for the board meeting on the 20th?
Rich,
Yep.
there's still money left in what had been budgeted for Anita. So there is some available. It's in this current year's budget, I believe, but there is some money there.
Matt and Tammy, do you guys have any input?
Could we? Yes. Would we welcome any help from outside sources? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think just following up on Tammy, I think I mean, either way, Tammy and I are going to have to provide some content and a lot of material for this. So why don't Tammy and I, Tammy, if it's okay with you, I don't want to speak for you, but why don't we agree to at least starting to get that content together so that we could try to get something going, whether it's something we create or something that we ultimately decide we can't do and we have to hire it out. Does that make sense?
That's perfectly fine.
Board,
So
what do you
you
guys?
report back to us on the 20th.
Yeah.
Peter, can you make sure that it shows in the minutes that Matt and Tammy are going to get back to us about some type of packet for prospective families?
Yes.
Is that good with everybody, Dwight?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Thanks, guys, for the extra. Sorry to put extra work on you, but I think it's necessary. It's great.
Kate?
I think it sounds wonderful. I mean, if you guys are fielding phone calls already, I think it's only going to help us all out if you've got it consolidated and together.
Dora?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm a little worried that we might be getting behind, and I'm interested in, hearing about the number of phone calls that our administrators are getting, because I'm hearing that there's a lot of real estate moving.
Yeah, let's try to finish up. We were on that equity thing. Let's try to get that finished, then we can go back and you can ask about that. Rick, are you good with the equity in the book? Yeah, the packet the administrator's going to bring to us.
I'm good with, sure. I'm a little confused. I thought we were going to sit down and talk about a definition of equity for our particular district, and I thought that was what our purpose was. So just taking this all in at this point in time. I'm fine with if they want to put something together, because we have folks moving into the district and there's not adequate information on the website, and we need something extra added to it that we can put on our website so that folks will move to this area of Vermont as opposed to another. I'm fine with that.
Okay, and Mark?
Yeah, Matt and Tammy, if you want any help on a sort of a desktop publishing aspect of it, let me know. I'm available.
Thank you, Mark.
So let me kind of sum up the equity conversation. So we have a form about guiding principles for budget development. we have a River Valley mission and vision statement, and the equity definition in VSA, VPA, and VSBA covers the guiding River Valley and equity. And I think I heard everybody agree with that. I don't see anybody disagreeing. So I
Yeah.
think the board answers yes. And then if the board answered not, then we had to ask what we were going to achieve. But I think if everybody's good, we can put the equity question to bed.
I would just like to ask that before we head into the next budget season and making programmatic decisions, that we seriously look at and consider foreign language at both schools.
Peter, can you make sure that's in the minutes, please?
Got it.
Thank you. Okay, I see nobody else with their mic open, so I want to, if we can, Laura had a question that came off of this. How many phone calls are you guys getting? Can you just give us a number of phone calls?
I've had,
Oops, sorry.
go ahead, Tammy.
No, go ahead, after you.
I've had 3 in the last 2 weeks. 3 families moving from another state to their, like Dwight described, to their second home in Vermont and making it their primary residence.
So I've had about 3 phone calls in the last month. Actually 4 phone calls. 2 of them are exactly the situation that Matt talked about, which was families using their Vermont home as their main residency. And then the other 2 were people who were choosing either to move to Wardsboro or another town in Vermont to purchase a new home.
Richard, can I follow up, please?
Yes, please.
Okay. So just quickly, how does that compare with, I mean, is that about is that normal, like amount of inquiries? Is that above average? Is it remarkable in any way or not remarkable in any way?
This early in the summer for Wardsboro, that is high. Typically we get those phone calls later, towards September.
Okay.
Laura, I would say it's about average for Dover. It doesn't seem remarkable to me. It's interesting, that it's families moving because of the virus.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, does anybody else, so with the superintendent's cabinet report, since he's not here, will, like I said, send me an email if you have any questions. I think that covers all our old business, unless anybody else has something old. You see no mics coming on. So under new business, we started talking about signing contracts, and Bill was going to send you out the grid sheet of all the contracts that we need to approve. Did everybody get that, Mark?
Yes, I did.
Right?
I believe so, yes. I'm trying to pull it up now.
Okay, Kate?
Yes, I got the Google Doc with the contract list.
Laura?
Yes, I did.
And Rick?
Yes, I received it.
Okay, so if anybody would like to make a motion to approve the chair signing the contracts that are on the grid, please make that motion in a second. And then Matt, we'll get to your other request right after this.
I make a motion that we allow the chair of the River Valleys Unified School District to sign contracts as outlined in the spreadsheet sent to us by Superintendent Antone.
Thank you. That's a very nice motion, Rick. Do I have a second to that motion?
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Kate. Peter, do you have that motion?
Got it.
Okay, is there any discussion? Then I will do a
Yeah.
roll call.
Hold
Do
on.
you have discussion?
Well, I've got two questions.
Shoot.
I'm trying to read this. It's sideways, so I'm having a little bit of trouble, but I don't see the two new hires on here.
I believe we've already signed the contracts.
Ah, okay, that would explain it. Then never mind. Yes, I'm good.
Matter of fact, I know I signed one of them because it's in the packet here. Is there any other questions? Running through a roll call vote then, Mark,
Yes.
White,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rick.
Aye.
Okay, so it's a unanimous vote, Peter.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Matt, you had a request for 2 additional contracts to be reviewed by the board tonight.
Thank you, Rich. Yeah, we just got contracts. They're not really contracts. They're letters of agreement for teaching summer school. And I just wanted to shoot them by you guys. I think I just sent them out to you this evening. So don't be surprised if you haven't seen them yet because they just came out minutes or hours ago. Essentially, it's for a coordinator / teacher and a teacher to instruct the, I believe, 19 students we have enrolled at from Dover in summer school. It will be remote learning. They will be one-on-one sessions, and you know, that's pretty much it. It's just a standard letter of agreement.
Matt, why don't you tell us who the 2 are and what the contracts are?
Sure. So the coordinator is Crystal Griswold. She's been the summer school coordinator for well, years before I arrived. I don't know exactly how long. The contract represents an hourly rate of $45, not to exceed 58.5 hours over the 3-week period. The rate of pay is derived from the teacher's daily rate based on her teaching contract, and then an additional amount for coordination. It represents the 9 days of instruction, and it represents the fact that it's an agreement with River Valley's district and the summer school coordinator / teacher. This position will be required to submit a timesheet and be paid bi-weekly. The second contract is for Harry Reisig. He's our new 4th grade teacher. And it's identical except for the hourly rate is 30, which is the rate that we typically pay our summer school teachers who are not the coordinator. Everything else is the same.
And that's consistent to what's happened in the years past.
Yes, this is based on what we've done in years past, although we've typically had 2 or 3 teachers, but we didn't do that this year because originally we didn't think the demand would be so high for remote learning, continued remote learning. However, we had a quite positive response to it from the families, and but they think they can, the 2 employees feel like they can handle it.
Okay, Mark, you had a comment?
One comment, one question. And I apologize if you said this, Matt, and I didn't hear it. This is for both schools, is that correct?
The summer school program is available to both schools. And so when we were developing the program, we made the decision to go remote. I discussed it with Tammy. And Tammy, maybe I'll let you talk about how you communicated this with your staff and the outcome of that.
Sure. So I communicated to the staff what the format would be. They then developed a list of students who they felt the program would be fitting to. And then it was pitched to families, And at this time, there were no students or families at Warrensburg that were interested in this format for the summer for them.
Okay, and then my second question is, if I remember correctly, from one of Bill's reports, the summer school that's being held at on Route 30, I forget the name of the school, is kind of be a test run for how you're going to be operating should school actually open in the fall. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. They're operating the Explorers Camp at Newbrook School this summer, you know, following the guidelines from the CDC.
Great, thank you.
I believe there's limitations on the group size. I think that there currently is a waiting list as they're only admitting 45 kids at this point.
Any other questions from, oh, Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, I just thought of another question. Since it is being done remote learning, is it feasible or desirable to open it up to students outside the district and tuition them in some way?
It's a good question, Mark. We felt like we made the decision to go remote based on the you know, the guidance from the governor and the Agency of Education and the CDC. We didn't feel like we could manage the logistics of those requirements. So that's why we decided on remote. We decided it rather late, and having it planned and implemented in time and adding in the additional element of opening it up to outsiders for tuition was just a little more than we could manage from a logistics perspective. So we weren't able to do it. If this goes well, and certainly the turnout is better than any of my other 4 years here at Dover, I would see next year we would have more time, and it's something we would really consider next year.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions? Would somebody like to make a motion to approve the 2 contracts as specified by Matt?
So moved.
Okay. Second, Rick?
Sure.
Okay, Peter, do you have that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mark?
Yes.
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
And Rick?
Aye.
So Peter, it's another unanimous vote.
Got it.
So the last thing we had on the under new business was end of school year reports, and we're approaching a 2-hour meeting. So if nobody has a problem with it, we do have a couple contractual issues in executive session. And Matt or Tammy, did you have any other executive session items?
Go ahead, Tim.
I did not.
Rich, I just have the one letter that I sent to you earlier, or actually would have been last week.
Okay, I don't recall it. Sorry.
Okay, that's fine. So yes, the answer is yes, I have one contractual item.
Okay, so hang in there for a second with us, Matt.
Yep.
Lauren from the newspaper.
Yes.
Do you have any questions or comments or answers or anything that we missed for you?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, Rich at the BCTV, you all set?
I am indeed.
Okay, we're gonna move into executive session, folks, for contractual and you said personnel, Matt?
Yes.
And we will be making a decision, so we'll have to come back. So Rich and Lauren, I don't know if you want to come back, and Peter. I don't think it's going to take us very long. So if you, I guess Mark, I don't know how we're going to do it on this now.
We're going to do it the same way we've done in the past. I'm going to kick people out that aren't going to be there for the executive session, then they can come right back in the waiting room. When we come out, I'll let them in.
Okay, so can I entertain a motion from somebody on the board to move into executive session for contractual and personnel?
I make a motion that we move into executive session for personnel and contractual issues.
Second.
Laura, or it sounded like Mark or somebody. I'll give it to Mark. So Rick made a motion, Mark seconded it. It's at 7:44 p.m. If there's no discussion, Mark,
Yes.
Dwight,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rick.
Aye.
Okay, so it's unanimous.
This conference will now be recorded.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, is everybody set to rock and roll?
I'm all set.
Tammy's not here.
Who's not?
Tammy.
Well, she said she wanted to come back in, so
She's coming. I just sent her a message.
as soon as she gets back in, we'll start.
Okay.
Rich.
Yep.
While we're waiting, can I make just a quick VSBA update?
No, let's wait till we come out of executive session.
Okay.
And I did miss that, Mark. I'm sorry.
It's okay. There she is.
Okay, so by unanimous consent at 8 o'clock, we came out of executive session, and we were informed that our art teacher has resigned, and that Matt and Tammy will be advertising for a replacement. They'll keep informed. Oh, Rich is here now too. We started without Rich.
It's being
Rich,
recorded.
so we're all set to go?
Yep.
Did he get that we came out?
I'll let him know. Oh, there he is.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Okay, thank you, Rich. So we came out. You guys, Matt and Tammy, you'll keep us informed as to what's going on, and we'll hear more in the meeting on the 20th. And then, I think somebody wants to make a motion?
Yeah, I'll move that we approve contracts for Tammy Bates and Matt Martin and request, as submitted by the superintendent, and request that the chair sign them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Dwight, was that you?
Yep.
Okay, so Mark moved and Dwight seconded that we approve the contract submitted for our administrators and that the chair be authorized to sign them. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Mark,
Yes.
Dwight,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Rick?
Aye.
Okay, so Peter, it's all unanimous. And Matt and Tammy, I am so sorry that it's taken us so long to get these together, but congratulations, you got your new contracts.
Thank you, Rich.
You're welcome, Tammy.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for sticking it out with us, guys. So I'm gonna do one other quick thing. I told Mark that he could give a quick VSBA update. So you got like 2 or 3 minutes, Mark.
All right, I'll keep it short. The annual conference has been moved from October up until July 21st and 22nd. Everybody should have received an email about it. It's going to focus on the opening up of schools in the COVID era, as well as equity, specifically around race relations. The one other thing I wanted to mention is that at the last meeting, I made a motion requesting that the VSBA essentially lobby for the passing of what was at the time Senate Bill 46, which would have created a group to study the or prepare for the implementation of the weighting study. My motion wasn't directly approved, but we did approve a motion that will have our executive director lobbying for movement for that within the current legislative session. So just wanted to let everybody know that.
And I am, can I say something, Richard? Richard?
Rich, I think you're muted. Nope,
No,
he's
he's
gone.
not.
Richard?
Give him a second. He'll probably come right back.
Okay, I'm sorry. For some reason, it kicked me off. So, Mark, are you all set?
I am, yes.
Did you have any questions of Mark or any comments of Mark's report? Go ahead, Laura.
So I am hopeful to get some traction on this, probably not until August, September. But I have actually had conversations with the AOE, indicating that it would not be overly burdensome for them to come back with a plan next year, which is something that I had been told. So I am looking for an opportunity to move that.
Is any other comments or questions? Okay.
All set.
Hey, Matt.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you give me a call at 5749-464-5749 when we're done?
Yes.
I just need to drop these off for you.
Sure.
Okay, so I was just gonna make an arrangement. If there's nothing else from anybody, Mark, you all good?
I'm good, thank you.
Right?
All set. Good meeting.
Kate,
I'm all set, thank you.
Laura,
Thank you. All set.
Rick,
Appreciate everyone's time.
Tammy?
Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Matt. You all good?
Yep. Thank you all.
Hey,
Okay,
Matt,
so somebody make a motion to adjourn.
Matt, could you give me a call in the morning?
Is that Mark?
Yes, please.
Yep. I'll call you, Mark.
Thanks.
How early?
I'm up early, so anytime.
Got it.
Okay, motion to
I'll make-
adjourn.
We adjourn at 8:07 PM.
Okay,
Second.
Rick moved. Kate seconds it.
Okay. Good night.
All
Good
those-
night.
all
Good night,
those-
everyone.
say aye.
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 Aye.